You're listening to Shane Hall, host of the Dealmakers podcast, where we break down the stories, strategies, and insights of top performers in the real estate industry. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a different kind of deal, the recruitment deals that have shaped the real estate industry. Nikki Foard is a strategic growth manager at Compass, responsible for recruiting top-producing agents and expanding the firm's market share. Compass became the #1 brokerage in the U.S. by volume, and Nikki has been a key part of that growth. Let's get into it.
As you'll notice,
mess this up.
As you'll notice on
I'm
some
only coming on this show one time. You got me one time.
Fair enough.
Until you're famous, and then I'll come back.
And then back. Well, yeah, exactly. We got to parlay that. So I did wear the mustache just for you.
Really, I noticed, and I'm deeply hurt and upset by it. But we'll talk about that later.
It's not my best look.
No. Really giving me a Napoleon dynamite.
Truly yeah, it's Napoleon or his brother Kip. Like, seriously. So
got to get rid of that. What does Emily think?
Not a fan, if we're being honest. Cannot stand it.
I know I liked Emily from the beginning. You're questionable. Emily's great.
I can't argue that. Separately from this, I'll do it like a little intro and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll just get into it. Honestly, it's just a free-flowing conversation, and I'll figure out best spot to like pick it up on. But you've come. I had to coax you into coming here. You did not want to.
No.
For months, you've been avoiding me.
I don't like my voice on camera. I can't listen to myself talk.
Well, nor can I.
Yeah. But
which makes this part challenging because it's kind of my job now. Or at least one part of the job. But it's easy. Podcasting stuff is fun. Let's talk you.
Oh.
It's why we're here. I like origin stories. I like prequels. I like learning backstories. So start from the beginning, from the top, as one of my buddies would always say.
From the top.
From the top. Do it from the top.
From birth to today.
From birth to today. Start.
Tell me what you want.
Give it birth. Where were you born?
How much time do we have?
Where were you born?
I was born in Catonsville, Maryland. So born and raised.
Oh, dang, girl. Okay.
Yeah. You didn't know that, did you?
No, big Flacco girl.
When I was 2, my parents bought a new house and moved to Howard County.
Okay.
So grew up, born, raised in Howard County. HoCo for life.
HoCo for life. Let's go.
And I didn't leave until I went to college.
Okay.
I went to Virginia Tech. And then after Virginia Tech, I moved right back home because that's what we do in Maryland. We don't leave. We come back.
True.
And then I met Drew, my husband, and he made me move to San Diego, and it was pretty amazing. So those are my locations so far. Now we're to Maryland because we always come back.
Right. Well, you're coming back. Tell me, let's go to tech for a minute.
Oh gosh.
All right. Tell me what drew you to tech.
Oh, that's a great question. So when I was a junior in high school, I applied to 15 different schools.
Okay.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. Who actually knows what they want to do when they're
This is a question that comes up a lot.
17 and 18 years old,
Correct.
Right? It's like, why do we have to make this huge life decision when we're so young with very little guidance, honestly, unless you play a sport. But I wasn't a D1 athlete like you.
But even then, though, you play a sport and it's like, you can't always, I know for me personally, I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something in architecture and they were like, oh, bro, you can do that, but you're not going to be on the team. So, I was like,
really?
Fuck. Yeah. I thought about architecture. I thought about engineering, but if it doesn't line up with the practice schedules and you're not all world, which guilty was not amazing. They're like, no, you can pick a different major if you want. So I just, I'm always curious.
Well, were you business school?
I tried for the business school and honestly did not do well on the finance or accounting classes. And so they were like, we don't really think you're cut out for the business school. And I said, you know what? You're probably right. You're probably right.
Here you are helping people with the biggest financial decision of their life.
Well, it's funny how things work. Listen, there's a lot of millionaire, billionaire gurus out there that didn't even graduate high school. So,
this is true.
It doesn't really matter where you're at on your journey, but it does matter how productive you are.
Well, like you, I wanted to go to the engineering school for a while at Tech.
Really?
Which is part of the reason, back to your original question, that I chose Tech. I got into somewhere around 10 colleges, and James Madison was my number one.
Humble brag.
I mean, I only had nothing else to do but study in high school.
True.
So,
right. No boys
at all. Nope. Totally studying.
Yep.
And I was down to 2. I was down to James Madison and Virginia Tech, and James Madison was my top choice.
Okay.
And then I went to visit both and spent a weekend at both, and I realized how amazing sports were at Virginia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to a football game, and I couldn't unsee what I saw. Enter Sandman sold me completely. So to answer that question, in 18-year-old Nikki's mind, it was going to be a better time.
No doubt.
It really wasn't. I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. I didn't know what my major was ultimately going to be. So I chose Virginia Tech, and no regrets. It was such a great 4 years, and Blacksburg is amazing.
Who was on the team when you were there? Because that was like during the pretty good damn stretch.
We were number 2 in the nation at the time. I can't remember who number 1 was now. I want to say it was Florida or
maybe Florida State.
Florida State. I can't remember now. But anyways, yes, we were number 2 in the nation when I went there. And we had Marcus Vick.
Oh, yeah.
Who was really the superstar at the time.
Yeah.
Until he got into a little bit of trouble and
it happened.
The team. And then a friend of mine, Sean Glennon, was quarterback, and he was awesome. And then we had Tyrod Taylor, who ironically
Sean Glennon.
Yeah.
With the neck.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna have to like put a picture of Sean Glennon on this spot. He's got a legendary neck. It's the longest neck I've ever seen.
Oh my God! I actually no one has ever said that to me.
Really?
I've never. No. And he dated a friend of mine throughout college for a while, so I was around him quite a bit. But
I think like his father might have been a draft. Is what I'm saying.
Shane, you cannot say things like that.
Well, he could see over the line because of that. So,
yes.
And
great guy.
That worked out.
But yes, so we had a great team, and we were very successful.
Awesome.
All 4 years I was there. So lots of great
Some would say you might have had something to do with that.
Of course.
Well, naturally.
I'm at the school.
They felt your energy, and they said, well, we can't let her down. We can't let her down. This is this.
Oh my gosh.
She represents our student body. We have to do this for her, guys.
Yes, okay. It was a good time. Blacksburg is a great town. It was truly just a small town feel, all college, nothing else there. So I would, every time I talk to a now graduating senior who might be going there, is considering, I'm like, you have to. It's the best 4 years of your life.
What do you do when it's not football season?
Well, it's not a huge bar school, which was great for all the underage years of college.
Well, true.
But it's a lot of getting together with friends, doing stuff on and off campus.
Yeah.
There are other sports there and other games you went to. We used to go to a lot of baseball games. What else did we do? Gosh, that seems so long ago, Shane. I'm coming up on what? If I graduated college in 2009. 16 years ago? God, don't make me do math right now. That's why I didn't get into engineering school.
Yeah. That's a lifetime. Oh my God.
Yeah. It is.
Shit. Well.
That's college.
As you're going through college, did you start to figure out a little bit more of what you wanted to do?
I did. So by junior year, I was really committed into the business school. Okay. I was committed into an avenue in business. I thought I wanted to do something more related to marketing. But I've always been a natural people person. I've always enjoyed talking to people, learning about people, getting really curious about their backgrounds and their histories. My dad has always been in sales. He owns a company. My mom was in sales for a long time before she had kids. So it kind of naturally hit me. I was like, well, I got to be in sales.
I have to.
Some capacity. The whole family was. It's a great relationship-based business.
Do you ever have like reservations with it? Like, most sales jobs are commission or at least partially commission. Do you ever have reservations, or were you thinking like, fuck, I'm young, if I'm going to do it, now is the time?
I wouldn't say reservations. I've been at 4 companies since college, so I'm very loyal to the companies I work for and what it is that I do. And I've had success in all of them to some capacity, right?
Where were you starting out?
I started at my dad's company.
Okay.
Actually, this is a funny story.
Tell me more.
So my dad owns a small industrial company based out of Columbia, Maryland. It's called Baltimore Rubber and Gasket. So when I told everyone in college I was going to work for Baltimore Rubber and Gasket, there was a lot of questions about what that was, which was quite entertaining. And then when I got there, I was like, oh, well, I'm the owner's daughter. Like, he's going to give me a nice place to work. And
you would think
he's going to, teach me the ropes and all that stuff. And he was like, here you go, general manager. You're going to teach my daughter everything. And actually, I want her to start in the warehouse. Go put a hard hat on her and like steel-toed boots, and you're going to teach her how we make our product.
So he gave you like a full on,
yes.
It's not The Apprentice. There was another TV show out there where like the CEO of the company goes undercover boss. That's what it is. You went full undercover boss. Let's start her in the back, get her a toothbrush, and she's going to start scrubbing the toilets.
Oh, I had to do that too.
Oh my
everything.
God.
But I will never take any of that experience back, because I learned everything from management of a small business to the sales side of the business to actually invoicing, accounts receivable, accounts payable. I learned how to really run a business from the ground up, which was very invaluable, thinking about all of the other jobs I've had since. I don't think I could be in this role that I'm in today if I hadn't done that role.
Yeah.
It taught me true grit, resilience, learning, respect.
It teaches you it's fucking hard to run a business. And there's like a bunch of shit that you don't think about.
And I remember my dad, for the first few months that I was working there, 5 o'clock would hit and I'd be like out the door.
Yeah.
And he pulled me into his office one day at like 4:30, and he's like, by the way, I want you to stay till 6 tonight. And I was like, why? He's like, because you need to learn that a business doesn't shut off at 5 p.m. And I was like, okay. I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, I get to go to happy hour with all my friends who are working for big corporations, 9 to 5, get off, go to happy hour and have fun. And I was like, if you want to be successful, you need to stay back and you need to work hard.
Yeah.
And if you want people to respect you, you're going to stay here later. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go to happy hour with my friends.
Happy hour sounds, honestly, it sounds way better. I'm not going to lie.
Dad. But in hindsight, I owe a lot of my business acumen and grit and drive to him, because he taught me that from the time I graduated college, which, look, I should have probably known that before college, but let's be real. We're in college, you don't spend the time to think about
kids don't know. No.
Yes. Unless you're, of course, playing a sport like you, where you're like the discipline in that you're getting up at 5 a.m. and going to practice versus laying in bed or deciding if you want to skip class, right? You're staying in that regimented schedule.
To a degree, it's regimented, but at the same time, like, you have somebody telling you exactly what to do at all times. When you're in like real life, you don't have that. Yeah. And if you run your own business, you have to be the person to tell yourself you got to do all the shit.
Yes.
So if you can't do that, it doesn't matter how disciplined you are to be able to do stuff. You still have to have somebody tell you what to do. And it's not going to be a successful venture if that's how you operate.
100%. And I don't think I would have seen any success in the last 3 roles I've had following working for my father if I hadn't taken all the lessons from him and applied them. And I still, to this day, when I'm getting tired or it's the end of the week and I'm ready to go home, I hear my dad saying to me, no, like, dig a little deeper. You got to dig a little deeper to figure out a solution or, get an answer or help somebody out. So I really respect him, and he's really been a mentor to me in my business career.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What'd you do after Dad?
So I met Drew. At a lovely
Put a picture of him up on the screen next.
At a lovely concert in Washington, D.C. David Guetta. Randomly, not looking or hoping or wanting to meet anybody, but we met, and the rest was history.
Yep.
And he was at the Naval Academy at the time. I knew nothing about military life, nothing, nor did I want to be a military spouse or in that at all. I'm somebody who really enjoys spending time with my partner and wanted my partner to be around. And I met Drew, and I truly had no idea what I was signing up for. I was like, I don't think I can do this, but well, we'll see where this goes. Fast forward to when he graduated, He was like, I want you to come with me. I was like, well, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to give you the choice. And he's like, I could go to Hawaii. We could go to Spain. We could go to Virginia Beach and stay close to family, or we could go to San Diego. And I was like, I've always wanted to get out, and
San Diego does sound pretty dope.
it sounds pretty fun, right? So 27-year-old Nikki was like, let's go to San Diego.
Yep.
So we, he graduated in May. In June, we packed the car. I left my dad's company, with enough notice, of course.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was next. I just took a risk, total leap of faith on him, on that he was going to have my back if I didn't have a job or I ran out of money or anything crazy. We drove across the country together, which was truly one of my best memories to date as well. And then we get to California. A couple days later, I was like, okay, I got to find a job now. I got to figure out what I'm going to do out here. I don't know anybody. I think I had one or two friends that were from Maryland that I sort of knew. I wasn't super close to.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have my support system out here. I don't have a career. I need to make that for myself. And so we were in a barber shop. I can't remember the name. It was like Floyd's, one of those chain shops.
Oh yeah.
Troy was getting a haircut down the street from our San Diego apartment a couple of days after getting there. And there was a business card on the table next to me in the waiting room that said Houzz, and it was Houzz, home remodeling app. And it was like, we're hiring, and I don't even remember exactly what it said, but it caught my attention. So I picked it up and I brought it back to the apartment. I was like, I'm going to look into this company. I ended up spending that entire afternoon looking at their website, reading about the job descriptions, and I was like, I'm hooked. It looks like an amazing culture. I watched all the videos, like all the corny recruiting videos that we all have, right?
Yep.
I was like, I'm going to apply. Probably won't get it because I have no experience that's relevant to what they were hiring for. But at the time, they were still fairly strongly in the startup stage.
Okay.
And in the San Diego office, after my first interview, they had probably around 30, 35 people at the time.
Okay.
This was in 2015. I got hired. So we moved out to San Diego in June of 2015. I was hired by mid-July, like start date mid-July.
Damn.
So I really was only without a job for about a month of being out there. And I worked there for 4.5 years. And from the time I started, we collectively as a team, the office grew from 35 people to almost 200 people.
I was gonna say, it's probably huge.
Yes.
Now.
I don't know. I feel like they've pivoted their business model quite a bit since I was there. But what I will say is what I learned in that job is the meaning of community, because I had a community my whole life here, right? Virginia Tech was still close enough to home. I had all my great friends. I had my great friends after college. I didn't have that in San Diego. And I met my, lifelong friends at Houzz in San Diego. I met the people who went through getting married, getting engaged, having their first babies. And I still, to this day, we will randomly message each other and be like, hey, remember that time, this happened? And so I really credit a lot of the community I built in San Diego to finding that business card and that barbershop. And it also took me to the next trajectory of my career. So leaving a small mom and pop business and then going into a big startup, fast hyper growth company was a whole different environment. So it was a lot of adjusting in that regard. But once I got myself into a good groove there, I realized technology was the world that I wanted to be in.
Yeah.
SaaS, technology.
Do you like that stuff?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And funny enough, after maternity leave, so I was at Houzz for probably 3.5 years before going on maternity leave. And when I was on maternity leave, a couple of my friends out there went to Compass.
Okay.
And they were telling me how amazing the company was, how much of a disruptor. The trend that I realized that I appreciate in technology companies is the people who are disrupting this respective industries that they're a part of.
Yeah.
I admired Houzz because they were creating a new way for architects, home builders, interior designers to advertise and giving them a new platform and a new site for inspiration and design and a new way that they could get business. That was a pivotal time where the mobile apps were becoming important. And the two companies I worked for a company in between, which we can rewind to here in a second. But what drew me to Compass was really some of my friends that were working for Compass out there that had left Houzz and talked about how amazing it was and how it was really disrupting the world of real estate. So that drew me to applying for Compass actually the first time in San Diego.
No kidding.
And I did get the job out there. They decided, I think they had
Were they on crack? How could they?
You know, Shane.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't get the job out there. I was pretty sad at the time. And I applied again. And then ironically, Drew and I made the decision when he got out of the Navy in 2020, we were going to move back home to Maryland. And on the drive back home, I got a phone call from a random San Diego number, and I answered, and it was the recruiter from Compass in San Diego.
No kidding.
Like, we actually are hiring for the role again. We're interested in interviewing you. And
sorry, kiddo, I'm out.
I was like,
we're going back to Crab Town.
We are literally like in the middle of Texas somewhere. I couldn't even tell you where we are. And I was like, but if you have anybody here locally, you might want to connect me to. And they did, turns out. And they connected me to the local team here, and the rest is history.
Well, shit.
Been at Compass for almost 5 years now, which brought us together, Shane.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Well, what was it like in the early days at Compass? Because it's kind of notorious for, well, I guess it would be the same thing for most startups. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of information in a short period, and the expectations are always higher than, some place that's more established, because you got to play catch up. And so we got to rev it like 100 miles an hour at all times. Mm-hmm. What were those first days like?
First days here in this market.
Yeah.
Well, we can reflect back to our old office space here. Well, I came in at an interesting time too, because it was still COVID. I started December 14th, 2020.
Yeah.
And the world was still very much virtual. People were not really going into offices all that much. I didn't even meet any of my bosses.
Totally forgotten about that.
Doesn't that feel like forever ago?
It really does. And that sounds like the worst way to start a job.
Well, especially in this business. As you know, this is all relationships. And that's kind of hard to build a relationship when you're talking to someone on a Zoom screen.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was hard because we really weren't known in this market at all.
Right.
There was a couple of OGs here, which was awesome, inclusive of yourself, Shane, that I really got to know and helped me to start to build and understand the business. But in terms of what it was like from a hyper growth perspective, there were moments where I had people tell me to my face, respectable, high producing agents in this marketplace, say, you're going to fail. You're not going to do this. I looked around and I was like, well, I don't think you're quite following the trajectory of the industry right now. And I believed in what Compass was doing from the very beginning. I believed in what the opportunity was. And I believed in my ability to build enough relationships with people that I genuinely care about and want to see their lives and their careers get better and change. So I worked overtime. It's funny. I was thinking about this morning. I was like, what is Shane going to ask me about my career journey today? And what are we going to talk about related to Compass? And I was thinking back to the early days where I would meet agent after agent, coffee after coffee, and they would tell me they loved me, right? And wanted to work with me at some capacity, but weren't ready to think about Compass because more of the traditional brands still held the market share. They had wonderful managers and wonderful relationships with the people in their offices. And I understood all of that. But to me, I looked at it as, this is just a matter of time. And I fast forward to 2025, and here we are, sitting in our beautiful new office. And many of those people who I had those coffees with 5 years ago, they're in this office now.
Yeah.
And that is what's meaningful to me, is that I built enough of a relationship from 2020 to 2023, 2024, 2025 with somebody that when they were thinking about a career change for themselves, I was on that list that they called. When I meet with somebody, my only goal is, can I add value to what it is that they're doing? Can I make their lives better? And if I can't genuinely say yes to one or two of those questions, I'll end the conversation. I won't ask somebody to move their business or their life to a company that isn't going to do those things for them.
Well, I think you hit on something that's like, it's a pretty unique quality, especially in this business where it is very people oriented. You're very persistent yet patient, and that's a tough thing to do when you have quotas and metrics and all this other shit that you got to hit. but it just speaks to kind of like what your dad said and how he kind of raised you, where it's like the business doesn't just turn off.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to go and
Mm-hmm.
go and go, and it might not work right
Mm-hmm.
away, but keep powering through, keep
Mm-hmm.
persisting, and
Yep.
eventually good things will happen. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been pretty damn cool to watch, because I
Mm-hmm.
remember having those conversations with you early on,
Where I was like, I'm
starting
just
out.
gonna come join your team, Shane. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I also remember people like doubting you. It was very difficult. New person in a new growth market, and what the hell are we going to expect? It's just, I commend you for being able to do what you've done.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
awesome.
you. And going back to the comment I made about people telling me I was going to fail, I think there's two ways that you can address that, right? Or two mindsets you can have coming from that. You can say, okay, that person's right. I am going to fail. And you can kind of crumble and go do something else and quit. Because there's plenty of things I could go do, right? I mean, that's what we've all worked so hard to build a platform for ourselves, and we've educated ourselves. But I used that moment of doubt, or moments of doubt, I should say, to motivate me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to fail. I don't know why you think I'm going to fail. I'm not going to fail. And I used it as motivation. I channeled the stress and the negativity into motivation and encouragement. And that's a really hard thing to do. And it's another thing that I've had to teach myself over time, because in my first role, and we haven't talked about the company I work for between House and Compass, but I worked for a small company called Mercado. And at the time, they were an indie grocery delivery company. And they were trying to do what Instacart did, but for all of the mom and pop markets, grocery stores, maybe chains that were like 6 or 7 stores, not 100, not the Whole Foods, not the, the Giants, the Safeways of the world, the smaller companies that needed the ability and the infrastructure to also get competitive and offer delivery, right? Especially in 2020 and 2021, that was really important. And I worked for them for a while. They were a brand new startup. They just raised their seed round. Amazing CEO, true visionary. I mean, he started that company because his dad and his family owned a butcher shop in New York, and that was his vision for it.
That's cool.
But same thing was true in that role too. I would call these grocery stores and these owners and set meetings, and they'd be like, "You guys are gonna fail. You guys aren't gonna do this." And yeah, and look, like, people are always going to root for failure. And bringing that full circle, I think for me in business, I've taken that as that's a reflection on you all and what you're doing and your insecurity about how you're building your business and what it is that you have to offer versus what I'm doing. So I've really learned how to take the naysayers, going back to your question about the early stages and how hard and difficult it was, into opportunity and focus it more on, I'm going to use this as motivation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use this or let somebody else win.
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious why Compass hired you.
I hope.
In addition to like the personality traits, like you're also going in, you've got a track record of going into businesses that are in need of growing and selling them on growth, and like, use our platform, we'll be able to get you what you want. And it's worked. I mean, but you've God, it's pretty fucking cool. But it's also got to be difficult transitioning from tech sales to agents. Agents notoriously difficult personalities and people. So
Shane, you're one of the more difficult ones.
that's what I'm told.
No, I'm kidding. You're great. It isn't and isn't. The companies I worked for before, it was very transactional.
Right.
It was very much like, let's get to the finish line. Let's determine if there's mutual value. Are we signing a deal? Or are we not signing a deal? Which is very traditional sales, very transactional. The piece I missed during those years was the relationship. I always go back to that word relationship, but it's so true. What I love about the agent space is it may not happen instantly. Someone may not decide to come to Compass ever.
Right.
But I've built so many relationships here locally. And we talked about this in the early days too. Like, I wanted to do the right thing in this market because I'm raising my son here. I live here. This is my community. My kid's going to be on these sport fields. We go to all these restaurants, right? I want to build something that's representative of this market, and I want to build the right relationships to help me get there. And I think the element that drew me to working with agents was you all thrive on relationships. It's the same thing you're doing with your clients, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you're
very much
nurturing
so.
your clients. You work with a buyer who maybe doesn't actually buy for 3 years, right? And you get to know that family. You get to hang out with that family, whether you're like, is this ever going to happen or is it not?
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But sometimes it does. And it's a fucking cool feeling.
Yes.
Like,
you made someone's dream come true.
exactly.
And you found them a place that they're going to raise their family, or they're going to take that next chapter in their lives. Like it's really rewarding. And the same is true for what I do. What gets me out of bed to do this job is the opportunity to really change someone's trajectory of their real estate career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how long do you think it takes, well, for some of your bigger acquisitions,
Mm-hmm.
how long do you think it takes to get those on? Does it take years of trying for the most part to convince them? And what's the pitch going into most of these agents or most of these, mega teams? It seems like there's a lot of fluidity now in
Mm-hmm.
brokers and where some of these top teams and stuff are going. I'm curious what the pitch is for comps. I know, but being here, but
Mm-hmm.
for the audience members or agents that are listening.
Yeah. So the first question you asked was timing.
Yeah.
Timing's a funny thing. I've worked with people who it took a year, right? It took a year to figure out if this was going to make sense or not.
Yeah.
And we were in active conversations for a whole calendar year, right? And
Yep.
then there's people who I talked to, it wasn't the right time. They visit again, and 5 days later, they're at Compass, big teams, right?
Yeah.
So the timing piece is really just, it's interesting. There's not really a trend or specific answer there.
Okay.
In terms of the pitch, look, it's about value and goals. When I'm across the table from a great agent like yourself, it's what do you want the next 12, 24, 36 months look like in your business? If someone says to me in that moment, I don't really care about growing, like I'm really happy with what I have, which there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
There's a lot of people who are in the business that
fine.
are happy with what they're doing. They're doing, 5 or 6 transactions a year. They're happy that way. That's why they're in the business.
Yep.
There's agents who really do care about growth and teams. And if that is the answer I get in initial conversations, it's, well, I need to show you how we've been able to do this for XYZ agents across the country, right?
Yeah.
And I use data because data doesn't lie. And if I can tell a story that was real for another agent, and they can pick up the phone and call any of those people, right? I mean, at any point, you all have each other's phone numbers, call them and ask about their experience. It's, if you care about the things that you tell me in this 1, 3, 5-year plan, there's no better company that's going to suit you right now. Truly. I mean, the thing that I love about Compass, and Robert Refkin's really done an amazing job from the beginning of this company to now. Companies and their culture, they trickle down from the top, right? And what Robert's done a beautiful job in doing is marrying technology with culture.
Yeah.
And if you put somebody in the right environment with the right tools, what's stopping them? What's stopping them from accomplishing their goals? Now, look,
Only
we go
themselves in most cases.
Yes, drive and discipline. We go back to those words we talked about a little while ago. I can't get you out of bed. I tell people all the time, like, a brokerage isn't a silver bullet. I do find it interesting. There's people you meet in this business that have changed brokerages 15 times.
Oh, yeah.
And they're seeking something, right? And I understand why sometimes it takes a little while to find the right home. It's the same thing with a brokerage and a company. But a brokerage isn't going to fix your problems. You have to get yourself out of bed. You're an entrepreneur. You get out of bed, you chase those goals. But if you put yourself or you align yourself with an organization who has the right support, infrastructure, technology, and culture for you, the sky's the limit. And what's been really fun for me, going back to the growth of Compass from 2020 to 2025, when I started, it was just me, one manager, and a couple of founding teams, a couple of agents. Now, fast forward 4.5, almost 5 years, we're almost 350, 375 agents. I'm going to have to pull all the rosters and count again, and 5 offices. So the growth story for me has been fun to see the success that exists here and the relationships that are being formed behind these walls. I never wanted to build a company that was a Long and Foster 2.0 or a Coldwell Banker 2.0 or a Keller Williams 2.0. I wanted to bring new people into the room together that they all admired. They all thought were collaborative, right? The important piece of Compass and to protect that culture piece of it is, are they collaborative? Are they going to come into the office and provide value for the other people that are here and for themselves? And watching the new relationships that have unfolded in my different offices has been really fun. People that weren't necessarily in the same offices before, right? I don't know if I'm answering your original question right now.
Well, I don't know either, but that's okay.
You asked me about the Compass pitch. Hopefully that.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good pitch. I'm in a trance right now. What are some of the biggest pushbacks that you get from agents other than, hey, it's not the right time?
Yeah, I think I was taught very early in the business, there's going to be these three commonalities that you're going to hear in terms of why an agent ultimately doesn't make the move. One is timing, like you just said.
Yep.
2 is loyalty, and 3 is comfort. Those 3 things are, now there's a lot of little buckets underneath all of them, right? That we could talk about it deeper, but some people are really just comfortable where they are.
Yeah,
and
I get that.
And you can't break comfort, right? Now, what I always say to people is, what's that famous adage we all know is growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone.
No.
Which is why I'm doing this today, by the way. This is my growth of the week, getting on Shane's podcast. But the loyalty piece is hard. And what's been really cool to see in Annapolis specifically is there are powerhouses in this market who've built amazing offices who are at my competing firms, right? But I admire them.
Yep.
I admire them and what they've built, and I strive to build what they've built, right? So the loyalty, I understand and appreciate. And I'm like, if only one day someone else is calling and another company's calling and my people are like, no, we're loyal. We love Nikki and we love our manager, right?
Exactly.
And that's the dream. That's what you want to build. So I would say those 3 things are the overarching themes of why people ultimately don't make the move. But of course, there's lots of one-offs in there as well.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. What do you guys look for as a recruiter and an agent?
It's a great question. So I'm going to answer this question in a roundabout way.
Okay.
So a year and a half ago, I went to lunch with a top agent in the Howard County market. He told me his whole story into the business, and he is somebody I really admire. He's not somebody we're currently working with at Compass, but an agent I really admire. And he said to me, by June of 2024, I want your business to be 100% referral. Because we were talking about how he built his business and named his team, and where his business comes from today and how we got to that point. And I was like, I don't know if that's ever going to happen for me, right? Cold calling is such a big part of what I do and part of the job. But I was like, okay, I'm going to try really hard to build a completely referral-based business. And sitting here today in May of 2025, so almost a year later, my business is almost all referrals now. So to answer your question about what I look for in a potential customer, right? Because I look at you all as my clients, right? That's really important too. What I look for is, one, that trusted referral from somebody else, right? Somebody who I've already brought here, who really meets the values of Compass and what it is that we strive to build as a company, which is, are they kind? Are they collaborative? Are they operating ethically? Which we could talk about all day. Another podcast about the wild stories and things you see in this market, right?
That's right.
But are they kind? Are they collaborative? Are they ethical? Are they going to make a positive addition to the office space? Another thing we look at as I'm thinking about where our model really fits into the industry is experience. I'm not necessarily the place for a new agent. I'm not. Now, team leads like yourself and other great team leads in all of our offices, they're great for newer agents who need mentorship and all of that. But I look at Compass as, yes, are we able to help mentor and train? Is there a lot of that going on internally? Absolutely. But really the experience also matters. So I typically am looking for an agent who's about 2 years in the business as well.
Yeah.
Has done some transactions, because I think that adds value into, again, the relationships and the culture that are forming here. So to answer your question, it's really heavily referral based at this point, thankfully. But when I was in the earlier stages, it was turning to all of you. I remember coming into your office, Shane, Who are the
time.
Yeah, you're sick of me.
Who are the best agents to get? It's like,
Yes.
oh my God, Nikki, go.
I'll never forget our first phone call. I called you and we talked for like 45 minutes. And I was like, Shane, I'm reading you this roster right now. I need to know about all of these people.
I said, no.
And I was like, okay, curmudgeon. Yes. Not asking this guy again. No, you were great. Thank you. You were
I was in a mood.
But I relied on people like yourself in the beginning. I didn't know who was good in this market and who people enjoyed working with or got excited when they saw their name on the other side of a deal. I didn't know all that. So I relied on building relationships with all of you to really kickstart who are we going to hire? Yeah. Who is on our dream roster?
Well, that's a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
Give me a for whatever you can share on a signature signing for you. So getting an agent on board and what that negotiation was like.
One specific example?
Sure. You don't have to name names.
Well, I won't do that.
Yeah, don't
you don't want me to do that.
Don't do that.
People say this to me a lot. They're like, so your job is to negotiate with negotiators and sell to salespeople? I'm like, yeah, that's what I do.
Sometimes they're pretty good at it. Other times, not so much.
Yeah. Negotiation's a funny word for me because to me, it's about value. And if I've showed enough value or I've aligned enough with that person's goals or interests or what they're missing in their business, right?
Yeah.
Goals aren't going to make an agent move brokerages. And one of my former bosses said this expression to me before, and it really stuck with me. You're not going to wake up in the middle of the night and go to CVS or Walgreens to buy vitamins. You're going to wake up in the middle of the night to go to CVS or Walgreens to buy Advil. And you need to understand, does somebody have enough pain or challenges or opportunity that they're willing to wake up in the middle of the night and say, I'm going to leave this company I've been at for 5, 10, or 15 years.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to a new company. So it's about early value creation and understanding of, is there a real reason this person should even be considering change?
Yeah.
I tell people all the time. In fact, just yesterday, I told this to an agent, a wonderful agent. It's not worth us taking another call right now. You've been at your company for 10 years. You're running a great business. You feel like you have everything you need. Why take the conversation with me?
Yeah.
Why are we help me understand what I can potentially do for you, right? So negotiation for me is usually by the time I'm at the point of talking numbers or getting into the negotiation, I already know if the agent's coming to Compass or not.
Yeah. And that's just a matter of like, what are the terms?
It's just a matter of finalizing on the terms, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah.
From a place of what I can share on the house cats right now. But yes, I think by the time I get to that place, I know if an agent's joining or not.
What's it like when an agent onboards?
That's a great question. So I do feel like at Compass, and I'm maybe biased, we've really buttoned that process up, especially, since the early days. You talked about the early days. We didn't have staff yet and we didn't have a ton of support. But once an agent has made the decision to come to Compass, we have an entire team internally that I work with behind the scenes. I always tell my customers, my clients, I'm like, I don't want you to worry about anything except for making sure you have everything you need, having a couple of tough conversations, right? It's never fun to have conversations with your manager or other colleagues and let them know that you are considering change or you're making a change. Those conversations are difficult to navigate, and I understand that. But once an agent's here, we cover and take care of pretty much everything but those pieces we can't, right? So if there's active deals going on, we help navigate the transition of active deals, right? Or if there's stuff under contract, the direction of what you do with that. We set up all of the tools that they're going to have once they're here, the Compass technology platform, the email, we get sign riders, business cards. My goal is, while there's always road bumps, right? There's always going to be some obstacle we encounter. I never sell this pipe dream where a move is going to be the easiest thing that you ever do. You're going to have to get excited about learning new things.
Yeah.
And if you're not, don't do it. You're just going to be frustrated. But once we have all of that stuff done, it's just ongoing support, ongoing training, making sure they understand how to maximize the impact of the tools and the ecosystem at Compass to really just take their already thriving business and plug it into a model that can help put that on steroids.
Yeah.
And understanding the type of support and who to go to for what here.
What's one trait that makes someone great at recruiting?
Listening.
Ah, well said.
Listening.
Well said.
I think that's the trait that makes you great at anything in life. If you can
Say it again.
really actively listen. Shane went right over my head.
I know it did.
Then
I know it did.
Then I caught on.
That's all right.
So listening, it's the
All
most important thing. If you can listen and actually hear somebody, actively listen, like there's a difference between listening and actively listening.
This is true. Active listening requires a lot of focus.
Yes.
And many times we don't have that.
Yes.
What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
Oh, I feel like I've given a couple of those little nuggets already. Let me think of another one. That's a tough one.
It can be from dad. It can be from tech, a professor that you had. It could be from a boss at Compass or House.
Best piece of advice I've ever received. I'm so cliche with all of this. I always go back to all the quotes and the things that people put.
It's one of the things that drives my brother insane.
Motivational quotes.
He's like, I don't understand why people buy these books that continue. It's like the same thing. You know what you got to do when you fall down?
You
gotta get back up.
Yeah.
And we always joke about that. Like, oh, well, that's a thought. I didn't think about that. That's nice.
I'm stumped right now.
That's
I really am. I might have to think about this one.
Well, let me ask you this. If you weren't doing recruiting, what would you be doing?
Another good one. Man, you're hitting me with these zingers at the end.
I'm trying,
gosh. Honestly, I have to say, I think I'd be an agent.
You think so?
I do.
Yeah.
I love what you guys do. I love what you do. I'm obsessed with the business.
It is cool.
And if I wasn't going to be an agent, the other thing I dream about a lot is working for a high-end custom builder and being a project manager for a builder.
So fun.
Yes, those are two things I have on my list of, if I was to pivot at any point in my career, I think I would tackle those two first.
If you can look back, we all have mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the biggest mistake is that you made in a recruiting pitch?
I make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm human.
Samesies.
Sometimes. I think if I were to think of a theme related to a mistake, it's getting to numbers too quickly.
Okay.
It's getting to a conversation where there's nothing behind any of that or no value represented.
Right.
Too quickly.
You don't have the relationship and the rapport built up, and
or I don't even understand what's important to that person, right? Back when I was earlier in this position, I would get an agent who's doing, $40 or $50 million on the phone. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so scared to talk to you. Like, you're so successful and I don't know what I'm doing yet. And I would just answer whatever they had thrown my way. Instead of being confident and defending what it is that I offer, I would just answer the question. And I think that those are some of my larger mistakes. And then in addition to that, I think, look, I didn't always know all my markets the way that I do now.
Yeah.
And
well, it comes with time, like anything else. Like, you have to have the time in the role and time to,
and enough at bats, right?
Exactly.
If you don't have enough at bats, you've no clue what you're doing.
Exactly.
So I think there's a few people that I brought to Compass that maybe weren't the right fits for Compass.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 years, and I don't call that a mistake, right? That's a learning experience for them and for me.
Yeah.
But I'm really proud. What I'm really proud of in my current position and what I've done to date is the people that have come here from me. Very few have actually left.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say it's very small numbers, very small turnover.
Yes. So that tells me that not only did we have really good conversations up front, none of it was smoke and mirrors, right? It was real, that we're delivering and they're happy, right?
That's good. That's what you want. That's the goal.
Exactly. So mistake wise, I think it's the lack of confidence in the beginning in some of my conversations, and maybe not always making the right next move.
Guilty of that. I mean, my God, to go into a listing appointment on some expensive house, but what did you want for it? Okay. Sure. We should do that. Yeah. Even though I know deep down that is a crackpot number. That's not happening.
That's never going to work. Yeah.
What is one book, podcast, or resource that every deal maker should check out?
Oh, Principles by Ray Dalio.
Oh, you like that one? Okay, I haven't had that one pop up yet.
It's been a minute since I read it, so I'm not going to quote anything. But after reading that book, it's a great life book too. It's a great business book, a great life book. I actually really respect Ray Dalio as a business person.
Yeah.
I follow him on LinkedIn. I read all of his messages and align with a lot of them. Not every single thing he says is Bible for me, but I align with a lot of what he shares from a business lens. So I would say Ray Dalio Principles is up there for me.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Where can our listeners find you to connect with you? Socials, website, where?
Yes. Instagram, Nikki54S. LinkedIn, absolutely. My name.
And you're a huge fan of photo shoots. So if anybody needs some Instagram, Pinterest type of mood board, go to Nikki's Instagram.
Oh, gosh.
It's incredible. And plus, you get to see little Mason and Drew.
Oh, well, Drew really hates me for the photo shoots. Trying to get Drew bought in on a photo shoot is like trying to climb Mount Everest in my house. But you know, he's been a good sport.
He does it, and you just got to dangle that Coors Light carrot for him.
Coors do chores.
Coors do chores, baby. That's it. Well, I loved having you on, so thank you for doing this. I know that I have been bothering you for quite a while about this, so I appreciate it. To our audience, if anybody found this episode valuable, my God, if I could speak, that'd be nice. Subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who needs to hear some of these insights or wants to get involved with Nikki. Stay tuned for next week's episode. We are going to be diving into a different world with another deal maker, but appreciate you guys very much. Love you, and we'll catch up soon. Peace. Easy.
Is it all? That's hard.
You think so?
Well,